and I'm the legal expert of International Educational Development Association of Humanitarian Lawyers. And I am very pleased that our association has co-sponsored this event. I'm sorry for the delay. We've been waiting for a few people who had indicated they would be here. But I think we'll begin now. We have an extraordinarily interesting pair of people to present information to you, and I want to have some chance for some response and then some impassioned plea type discussions. I got involved in depleted uranium from various sources, including from the wife of the former president of Greece, Margarita Papandreou. We presented the statistics, the information, the tragedy of what was going on at the first Gulf War in 1996 here in Geneva. And I'm pleased that that very year the United Nations Subcommission agreed with our assessment that depleted uranium weaponry was already illegal and therefore didn't need a specific treaty ban, and initiated a procedure to, in a sense, flesh out why depleted uranium and some of the other bad weapons then on the table and in use were, by law, operation of humanitarian or armed conflict law, the law of weaponry, already illegal. With some maneuvering, particularly from my government, I'm from the United States, that tried to derail that initiative, we finally did manage to get a rapporteur nominated from the United Nations Subcommission who wrote reports as intended on these issues. In a sense, what I had set out to show was already accomplished, in that the independent experts on these issues from around the world had said, had decided, had decreed vis-a-vis resolutions, reports, etc., that these weapons are already illegal. Therefore, the question became what to do about the fact that countries, in particular one, are using weapons with depleted uranium. The discussions at the United Nations Forum, as is on this floor here, were very alarming to some of the countries that had in fact purchased depleted uranium weapons or had them foisted upon them by the United States. So at present we have both India and Pakistan, already a tinderbox, with depleted uranium weapons. We know Russia has them, we know China has them, we know Israel has them, and several other countries have them. But with some exceptions, there does not appear that any of the other countries that have these weapons have used them after we had discussions and testimony on the floor, as is upstairs, about the effect of depleted uranium. When the United States military forces attacked the hospital in Fallujah in 2004, I was furious because hospitals, regardless of what weapons you use, hospitals are off limits. You cannot attack a hospital. I brought an action at the Organization of American States against the United States on that issue. They had it under review, and then because the Bush administration was thumbing its nose at that forum, I did not want that case to be a case which showed to the rest of the hemisphere where the OAS sits that none of the other countries need to comply because the big superpower in the area is not. There were several issues that I in fact won at the OAS on this case and on an earlier case, which is that a country can be liable for violations of human rights outside, that it engages in outside its own borders. This is a very, very important victory. But I basically told the Organization of American States to put on hold the rest of the Fallujah case because I was afraid that the United States would flaunt its non-compliance with anything the OAS said. And in effect, the damage was done, and I was looking for different kinds of remedies that maybe could have an effect, and in particular continuing to alert the international community. The people, I was going to say on both sides of me, the people on my left are people who have done phenomenal work, both in the scientific aspects of depleted uranium and in the day-to-day results of depleted uranium use on civilians and people. So I will, without further ado, introduce them. We will begin with Dr. Christopher Busby, who's on my far left. He's visiting professor at the University of Ulster. He's scientific director of the Cancer and Birth Defect Foundation in the UK. And if there's anyone in the Western world that has done more on the science of uranium and depleted uranium, I don't know them. So you are very honored to have for you today Dr. Busby.